there has been finalized confirmation that the Lunar Classic burn will begin on September 20th, which is less than 2 weeks from the time this video is being recorded. How exactly would this fire help? Where do we stand in terms of price goals? On September 20th, a pivotal night for Terra Classic. What exactly will take place? In this video, we will lay out the entire process and schedule for you. If you need some background, I suggest we go right into it. Edward Kemp, a senior member of the Terra Rebels development team, has announced that the 1.2% ban will go into effect on September 20. The deadline for the prohibition is September 10. A proposal to adjust the burn rate to 1.2% will be submitted to us. Commonly, bids to alter parameters take 7-10 days to be approved, but I have no doubt this will go through quickly. The burn code will then go live on the blockchain on September 12th. This will take place at the height of 934,689 blocks. So, based on our findings to date, the burn will be enabled on-chain, but at 0%. This parameter modification, which will increase the burn rate from 0.0 to 1.2%, will be put to a vote in the community and implemented on Epoch 94, or the height of 9.475 million blocks, which is roughly the 20th of September. At that time, the value will be set to 1.2 and will begin burning 1.2% of all blockchain transactions. Then, following September 20th, we should have access to the major centralized exchanges like Binance very soon, if not the same day. We now know for sure that KuCoin will follow suit with the 1.2% ban on their exchange, and we can only hope that the other major exchanges follow suit off-chain as well. Naturally, this is a centralized exchange, and so they don't normally engage in right-of-way chain transactions. They do everything manually. They have created their own buy and sell pools and liquidity pools. These centralized markets will burn funds manually and then transfer the equivalent amount to the official burn wallet. Since the burn begins on that day, the 24-hour volume is crucial. We can estimate how many tokens will be destroyed by dividing the 24-hour volume by the token price. We've been keeping a steady 2 billion over the past few days if we plug those numbers into the math we're conducting right now. Also, I don't think we'll go any lower than that before the burn, when everyone starts buying and selling like crazy in anticipation of the fear of missing out. This means that at the present transaction volume, we are burning roughly 70 billion tokens per day, or a round of 2.5 trillion tokens per month if we change the price a little bit to account for the fact that we made these calculations at 3.0 rather than the 4.3 price. Though, just a few days ago, daily transaction volume was so close to $3 billion that it was frightening. Therefore, if you enter those numbers in, it's more likely to reach between 100 and 125 billion tokens per day, and between 3 and 4 trillion tokens in the first month. Obviously, this isn't completely conceivable, but it does give us a good notion, and it assumes that the price of Terra Classic never increases and that the 24-hour volume remains above the $3 billion threshold for that entire time. Many billions of tokens may be destroyed in the first few days of the burn, in a process analogous to staking. When it was originally implemented on the blockchain, we saw a reduction of about 400 billion tokens in the very first few days. There's a good chance that Terra, a classic on that particular day, will experience the same fate. Like I mentioned, the circulating supply on CoinMarketCap will begin to steadily decline in the days leading up to that point. This circulation supply has already dropped to between 3 and 400 billion due to staking and subsequent removal. It is my opinion that the fear of missing out, FOMO, will begin to rise again as we begin to see those burns set in. A price fall is possible if investors purchase the rumor and sell the news before the inevitable burn occurs. If we begin keeping track of a supply of tokens at a price of 0.60 each, then even if the price doubles, we will still be burning roughly 4.5 trillion tokens every month. Not only will the burn trigger on September 24 when Classic is transformed into Terra Classic USD, but it will also activate on September 24 when Terra Classic USD begins burning tokens. as the official Trillion Classic development team has already indicated. We also know that Terra Classic's daily transaction volume has increased to above $200 million, and that the asset's price has been steadily rising. Traditional Luna, now in extremely short supply. However, the supply is far lower than that of Terra Luna Classic, by a factor of more than 100 and almost 1,000. This suggests that we may burn hundreds of millions, if not billions, of Terra for a pretty minimal price, a classic example of USD off supply. Once that happens, the Terra rebels plot to pay back USD with Turner Classic may begin, as he promised. If we can get rid of the $9.8 billion in bad debt through debt restructuring or some other means, it will officially revitalize the entire algorithmic stablecoin and Terra Classic ecosystem, connecting it back to that daily volume and providing us with enormous utility and helping to maintain volumes, ideally in the hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, as we were doing for the crypto project before the crash. And like I said, if we can keep it above those billions for a long enough period of time, we can reduce the supply from 1 trillion to the hundreds of billions, and maybe even the tens of billions within the next 5 to 10 years. If I understand you correctly, this is a best-case scenario. That's a huge leap of speculation. However, there are some major developments on the horizon for Luna Classic that you won't want to miss. Although the possibility of a burn on the blockchain was a reason for concern, as I mentioned above, most trading volume occurs off-chain and Classic on centralized exchanges, so the amount burned wouldn't be all that significant. Nonetheless, it appears that the burn will be supported by KuCoin 100% and Binance. We are in touch with the Terran Rebel group Do Quantum to ensure a smooth procedure, and we are also preparing for the upcoming request to alter the parameters. The last pieces should fall into place by the 10th of September, at which point we may formally pass and set the burn amount to 1.2%. It's looking good for Territory Classic, with potentially trillions of tokens bound in the first month and, with any luck, decreasing the circulation supply down below 1 trillion in the next 1, 2, or 3 years. Nonetheless, do share your thoughts. There's room for growth in these skeletons. At this moment, we can only speculate, but everything seems to be in place for a massive price increase and supply cut within the next several weeks. All being well, please show your appreciation by clicking the like button below the video if you found it helpful, and consider subscribing to the channel if you're new to the site. Everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Much appreciation for your time and attention. Please enjoy the rest of the show.